Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Citizen and this is the third part of our color along with this page with this lady and a frog. Now you guys might be wondering why the background is halfway done, and that's because I did it on camera but that part got corrupted. So unfortunately I cannot upload it, but fortunately I did take a break in the middle of the video, and then I realized that it was corrupted. So when I went back to look at it, I realized that it was corrupted, so I decided to just continue on where I left, and I'm going to tell you what I have done so far. So what I have done is I have laid down a base with watercolor pencils. The color the brand I'm using of watercolor pencils are Koino Mandaloose. And if you're wondering if you have watercolor pencils in your set, in your pencil set, just look out for this small brush. That will be on the pencils. So that is an easy way to figure out if you have watercolor pencils or not. Now, if you're wondering which color I used for this picture, unfortunately there are no names on the pencils, but there are numbers. So I used 11. I also used number 10, which is this pink. I used number 9, which is this apricot color. I used number 3, and I'm going to use number 4 later on in this video. So what I really like about watercolor pencils is that I usually lay down very roughly, because it doesn't matter when you lay down the pigment. It just when you are diluting it with water, it's smooths everything out. So yeah, so that is what I have done for now. I just laid down the colors. I didn't think much about how I was laying it, or if it was in a perfect layer or something. All I wanted was to lay it down, and you might be wondering why there are some lines in the background, and it's just because, for my convenience, I used a ruler to decide where the color should be going. So yeah, so I'm just going to overlap the colors later, and then we're going to use water and brush to smoothen everything out. But that will come later in the video. So right now I'm working on this top layer over here, and as you can see, this is why I never sharpen my pencils. It's because it doesn't matter with watercolor pencil, because you're going to smooth everything out with water. So yeah, that's why my pencils are never sharpened. So I'm just gonna start off with this yellow, and then I'm going to overlap some of the colors that I already have been laying down. So I'm just gonna try and get a better angle for you guys to see and for me to work with. So hang on. And there we go, back again. For you guys it might have just taken a second or two, and for me I probably It probably was like 1 minute to get the angle right. But yeah, you don't have to be like, all you have to do is just lay down the pigment, because we're going to smooth everything out later. So I got this idea, well, not really got the idea, but I got very inspired by Kate's Coloring Haven to do backgrounds in Hannah Carlson books with watercolor pencils. And I just got so inspired by her works. So I just had to do it in my own book as well. Oh yeah, and the color I'm using right now is number 3. And then we're going to overlap the colors. You just need to get the pigment down on the paper, and then you can do the rest with the water. That's what I really love about watercolor pencils. I think what I love the most about watercolor pencils is that I do get a lot of control out of it. And oh, and don't worry, if you're worrying about why I'm going over like these little circles, it's because I'm going to use a metallic marker and a Posca pen to make them stand out even more. But that is, I don't know, later sometimes when we're filling out the details. Right now, just focusing on laying down the color. And I also did color over the wings, because I thought that these dragonflies, that their wings are sort of see-through, so you would see the sky behind the wings. You might see a line here that I made, and that's because I just marked it out so I know where to stop using this color and start with the next one. That is what I usually do, and when I do these types of backgrounds where there is sort of like a gradient effect, I usually just mark out. Now, because this is a sky, and usually the gradient isn't a regular, well, the ombre effect is not equal. What I'm trying to say here, well, it's not like, okay, it's half and half, but it usually is like a tiny little color in the distance, and then it sort of gradually becomes larger and larger and larger each section, and that is what I've done with the colors and here on the background. So what I did, I took a ruler, I measured out roughly what a centimeter was. So I measured it out, And then on top of that, I just double it to 2 centimeters, and that became the next color. And this is 4 centimeters. I hope it doesn't look like that, but I hope I've done the math right. Yeah, and then the top layer is 8 centimeters. So I just double it up so I can have this sort of like sky effect, I suppose. I hope you guys know what I mean. Cause that is sort of like, when I look at the sky, it's like the colors is not the same amount. So now we're done with the light yellow one, and we're going to do our darkest color, which is this number 4, and we're going to use it here on the top. And if you guys can hear that, that's just my cat eating. I tend to always sit next to her food bowl. So when I'm done with this color, I'm just gonna try and overlap the colors with each other. I'm gonna try and do it a little bit here with this yellow, this darker yellow over the lighter yellow. Now, you don't have to use the same pencils that I use. And you don't have to use the same colors as I do. So, but if you want to do sort of like a similar color scheme on the sky, you can just take some pencils that you find are most similar. There's a lovely summer night sky outside. The reason I haven't been really filming this past week is because we had oh, my cat is trying to drink the water. So I have a cup of water for the watercolors here, and she tried to drink out of it, so... And now she's angry with me. But yeah, we have been having the carpenters here. I think I told you in the last video we had carpenters here that was fixing our neighbor's floor because she had like this water leak, and the water leak has also gone over to our apartment as well. So they have been fixing some of our floors as well. So it has been really noisy during the day, and in the evenings I've just been so tired. So I hope I I don't disappoint anyone by not uploading any videos. Okay, so now we're just going to overlap the colors. So the color I used down here was 11 in my Koh-i-Noor Mandaloos series. And I really love these pencils. I have been having these since forever. When I started to do coloring books in color, these were the first pencils that I had. And I realized quite quickly that I had watercolor pencils. And I was just so determined of just learning using them and learning them and get used to them. So I had been having these for a real long time, and I would really like to have the full set. I've been buying some colors open stock, like this one, like this apricot color. I bought open stock because you can see this one has another end than this one. So yeah. So I do think this might be a newer model, while these that doesn't have the gold thingy on the top are the older models. So yeah, so I've been having these a long time, even before I started with the coloring. I think I bought them like over 10 years ago, and they have just been laying around, and now they are finally in use. So I'm very happy of that. Okay, now we got the pink one. I think this one is number 10. It's going to overlay somewhat, and then the magic is going to start to happen. Hopefully. So I was hoping to finish this picture before the end of this month. So I might be uploading videos quite frequently now for a while, because I do want to show this picture on my finished pages. I sort of get, you know, I don't know, there's something about me. I really want to finish pages, you know, have finished pages for my finished pages and video. So I sort of like, oh my god, I have like 4 whips and I need to finish them by tomorrow. So I just sit up all night and color so I can just have, you know, just a few more pictures in my finished coloring video. Okay, now we've been doing some overlapping. Now we're going to do the fun part in this. I absolutely love this part. So maybe I should zoom out a bit. Hang on just a second. So there we go. So now we're going to the fun part. So what you want is you want a small cup with a little bit of water in it. I have some water in this one, so that is the one I'm going to use. I'm also going to use a paper towel, and that's to wash off the excess water off the brush. I usually don't use these like fancy water brushes with water reservoirs in them because I don't know, I guess I'm afraid of using them because I feel like you cannot really control the water flow. But what I usually do is I usually dip my water brush in water and then I just wipe off a little bit of excess water, and then I do the thing. Then I dilute the color with water. Another thing I usually do is that I take the water on the brush and I just wipe it off on my hand because I'm lazy. And I usually, when I'm done with a paint with a picture, it's usually my entire hand is like covered in different types of colors. But you guys don't have to do that. That is just something I do. And if you feel like it's a little bit intimidating, don't worry. Just do it for a little bit, and it will come as a second nature for you. So yeah. So things you need to sort of think about when you're doing watercolors or working with water is that don't use too much water, because your paper will sort of it would just absorb the water and it will become quite damaged. Not in the way that it crinkles and buckles, but it can get as damaged as it doesn't absorb the pigment as well. So you sort of have to sort of watch out for that. But hopefully that won't happen. And once you do it like once or twice, you sort of learned how much water your paper can take. So yeah, I guess that is a advice. Another advice is that you usually work from the lighter area to the darker area. So as you can see, so I'm just going to flip the page. And so yeah, so this yellow is quite light. So I'm just going to start working with that one. And when it comes to pencils, you don't have to have super expensive pencils. I think this pencil that I bought came with a set a long time ago. And this one is just, I think this is just some synthetic material. I think this set costs like $5 or something, I don't know. So you don't have to buy something very expensive. So I'm just gonna switch brush because I realized this this point is a little bit too small for me to just work like this. You can do it, like you don't have to have a full set of brushes. You only have to have one brush to do everything. But I do feel like I need to change to a larger brush. So I'll be back in a second or two. So here we go. Here I am with my other brush. As you can see, this one has a 4 and the other one had a 2, and that usually indicates the size. So the smaller the number, the smaller... Oh, my cat is angry at the dog, sorry about that. So what I was saying was, the smaller the number, the smaller the brush, and it usually ranges from 1 to 6. So I'm just going to soak my brush, and that's my dog drinking, if you guys are wondering. So as you can see, this goes much better. It goes much faster because my brush is much bigger. So just when you feel like it doesn't, you know, go as smoothly, you just dip it in your water reservoir. I'm just gonna show you guys just how I do it, because this is sort of like second nature to me, because I've been doing this for quite a while. So I just dip it in, and then I just wipe the excess water off, and then I just go over the picture. And when I feel like I don't have enough water, it doesn't, you know, do its thing, I just dip it again and then wipe it off. So when you have done this for a while, it sort of just, you do it automatically and you don't have to think about it. So that is my number 1 tip for watercolor or watercolor pencils in general. I guess water media is, don't get your paper too wet. And another thing, I've seen people doing watercolors or watercolor pencils, and one thing that is an absolute no-no, and I've been watching several watercolor and watercolor pencils artists that the biggest mistake they see people do is that people use the brush like a mop, like a cleaning mop, and that is harmful for the brush. And I've seen some people using the brush as a mop when they're trying to cover a large area. So just be gentle with your brush. It gives them a longer life, and your picture becomes much more smooth. So that is a tip as well. So I guess I'm a little bit of an expert on the subject because I've been using watercolor for so long. So if you guys are wondering anything, so just feel free to ask me in the comments below. Now just blend it in. Blend, blend, blend. You see how smooth then the transitions become? That is what I absolutely love about watercolors and watercolor pencils, especially because I feel like I have so much more control with watercolor pencils. Now, watercolors are something I do want to become more, not an expert, but I do want to become more experienced in watercolors in general. So, you guys might have seen the book that I bought. I think I had it on the desert island tag that people are doing. So if you want to check out that video, it's on my channel. So with the power of water, just smooth and blend things out. Water is your friend. I think I used too much water, but that's okay. Just blend it out. So I'm the kind of person that don't mind having buckled paper, because that means I have been coloring them, because I love my watercolors. Oops. Just work on smoothing things out, and if you feel like I need more water on the page, but I'm afraid to add too much water, just wait. That is what I find so relaxing with watercolor and watercolor pencils, is that you have to learn to wait. Now, some people have sort of like a heat gun or something to just speed up the process of the drawing of the page, but I do think that waiting is good for you, because I don't know, it just makes me more relaxed. Or they have like a hair dryer trying to dry the page. But I do like to wait for the page to dry on its own. Actually, the little brush is better when it comes to these sort of nooks and crannies. So now I'm going to use my smaller brush. I don't know if this is dusk or dawn. It sort of looks like very early in the morning. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video wasn't a complete failure because of the corrupt file. But as you can see, now we have added the water onto the paper. We have smoothened it out quite a bit. Maybe I can smoothen out a little bit more. This is starting to dry up a bit. So I'm just gonna, just smooth it out a little bit more. And yeah, I hope you guys have learned something new today if you didn't already know some of these things. I hope it will maybe, I think some people might not be as good at watercolor pencils, and I do hope you guys have find this informative. If you want to get into watercolor pencils, that would be super great, because I really love my watercolor pencils, and yeah, I hope I see you guys next time, and bye.